Good morning, everybody. I'm Eureka John, and you're at Eureka Street Crypto, broadcasting live from Leander, Texas. It is December 7th, 2021, and it is 5:38 in the morning. And yep, back at it. This is episode number 347.5. And I had to add a point 0.5 in there because basically yesterday I did not really count yesterday's episode because, well, first of all, I was rambling a long time, and I got 47 and something minutes into the video, and then the sound cut out, and I still wasn't even really to my point. So I'm gonna try to be a little more short and concise this video for sure. As you can see, I don't even have CoinGecko up on the screen. This is my morning brain dump, and my video blog, and me documenting my crypto journey and everything that I'm learning in the space. And I believe that no matter what podcasts I do, I listen to, no matter what books I read, no matter what articles I read and stuff like that, that the real learning process comes from having to try to articulate it outside yourself. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here, is to solidify my learning process by doing this video blog. And I do it in the public for everybody to see and see me make my stupid mistakes. And like yesterday, the sound went off. And you know why it went off? It's because I was trying to render a video at the same time that I was doing my show. And as you know, I don't think my computer can really handle that type of stress, man. So I try not to beat up my computer too bad. But yeah, so that's what it is. And so if you try to articulate it, then sometimes it comes out differently from what you thought it was in your head, and then you realize, oh crap, I don't really know this stuff. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, and I'm doing it publicly so everybody can see the fact that even though somebody, well, I don't exactly appear to be an expert, but even though we're all new in this space, in the Web3 space, in the crypto space, no matter what type, I mean, you might bring an amazing background with you to the space, like finance or programming or economics or whatever, but you're still new to the space, and you can only see as far as the headlights will show you, right? Is that a Steve Jobs quote? Anyway, or is it Steve Jobs? Anyway, sorry. Man, it's too early in the morning. Okay. And I was listening to who was it? Kevin Rose on Bankless yesterday, and he was saying no matter how many podcasts you listen to, sometimes you just got to get in there and do it, and just suck it up, take the loss because you're probably gonna lose some money while you and test out these protocols, because you can read white papers all day, you can listen to podcasts all day on how things work, and I can listen to podcasts and try to tell you like I know that something is some amazing type of DeFi program or NFT project or whatever. But until you actually get in there and start dicking around with the levers and pulleys, then you don't really know. And so that's what I try to do. And I've lost my ass on a lot of different DeFi apps, but I don't really put in a lot of money to try to test these out, but I do want to know, what does this do? What does that do? And I just go in and I just start poking around. And yeah, so that's kind of what I did here with Abracadabra Money. And I know I tried to explain it yesterday, and I went some roundabout route talking about what I did on Sunday during the dip, because right now Bitcoin yesterday was at $47,000, and today it's like around at $51,000. Ethereum was down to like 4,000, I think even 3,900 at some point. Now it's up to 4,400, 4,404 it looks like. So yeah, you never know what crypto is gonna do. And I saw an opportunity. I'm really trying to maximize my APYs and my interest bearing accounts and stuff like that. I do have some Bitcoin and some other tokens sitting in Celsius, so I make use of both CFI and DeFi. CFI is centralized finance, and that's your Celsius, your BlockFis, and stuff like that. Your DeFis are your Aves, your compounds, and all these other weird things that people are cooking up on layer one and layer twos. So and I try to do a mix of both. I'm not a purist in any way, or a maximalist in any way. I don't like the word maximalist. I don't like to apply maximalist to anything in my life. That's why it was kind of hard for me to adopt crypto in the first place, because I didn't want to be known as one of those crypto people, because then that brings in some sort of like maximalism in my life, because I like to be open to everything, right? But at some point you kind of have to dedicate yourself and focus your efforts on one specific target and go for it. And the funny thing is I did focus specifically on crypto, and then now I'm opened up to a plethora and a smorgasbord of tons of other different types of opportunities in the world, because crypto encompasses so many different things. So yeah, I went into Celsius where I have some Bitcoin. I borrowed against my Bitcoin. So I figured Bitcoin's super low. The liquidation point would be $18,000, and if Bitcoin gets to $18,000, I think I have some other stuff to worry about. Uh, so I borrowed against my Bitcoin, and then I got some DAI for it. I pulled the DAI out, and I kind of split it up into a bunch of different protocols that I've been wanting to try out. One of them was Sushi. Another one is Abracadabra.money, and then I put some more money into KlimaDAO, and because of those high interest rates. And I think I have enough in the Wonderland protocol, and so I didn't add any more to that. But I did open up a liquidity pool position in Sushi, and let's see here. Where yeah, all right. So Sushi has all these liquidity pools, and the way that decentralized finance markets work with automatic market makers, it allows anybody to create pools and anybody to contribute to these pools. And these pools, you add 50% of one token and 50% of another token. And then, so those tokens are available anytime anybody wants to trade those pairs. And so, because traditional exchanges have order books and they have to find buyers for sellers and all that stuff and match them up. Not an automated market maker. There's a pool of tokens just sitting there. And if you contribute to that pool and make your money available for liquidity, then you get some of those transaction fees. There is a caveat, though, that's called impermanent loss. And if one token completely jumps up or down in value, then it causes the other one to have to be thrown off. And then there's some loss that can be realized in there if you decide to pull out at that moment and things don't correct itself. So that is a risk, and I've gotten burned by that risk. I think anybody who has really spent some time in liquidity pools has gotten burned by that risk at least once. And then there's the risk of being rugged, where everybody else pulls their liquidity out and you're stuck holding the bag. Yeah, but overall, I think liquidity pools are good. And they've been finding ways to correct impermanent loss through applications like Bancor and stuff like that for single-sided liquidity. But that's a whole other topic. So anyway, I put into the Mana and WETH pool that's wrapped Ethereum. And yesterday I went on a tangent about wrapped Ethereum. I'm not going to do that today, I promise. I got these liquidity pool tokens, which I staked, and then I'm earning interest off of that. Okay, so that's that. So that's the point is I wanted to tell you that in return, to represent my position in the Sushi pool, I got liquidity pool tokens, and that token is nothing more than just a signifier of my position in that liquidity pool, and it would just sit in my wallet if I didn't stake it and stuff like that. And in the same way, in vaults, say for instance, you go over here to Yearn Finance, and you have all these different vaults you can lock your money in, and you can earn these APYs. And look, some of these APYs are pretty healthy. For the Synthetics token, it's 104.28. And then as a result from locking my Synthetics tokens in this vault, I would get the vault tokens that represent my position in that vault. And I would be able to hold on to them. I could sell them on the open market if I wanted to, and stuff like that. Okay, so let me get to where I was going yesterday. I've been wanting to experiment with this Abracadabra.money app. So what Abracadabra.money does, it allows me to take those tokens that I would get from Sushi or Yearn, and then here's another one, Curve. This is an automated market maker focused specifically around stable coins, and then you can lock in and borrow against and all that stuff, and you get those tokens that represent your position. So right here's a pool on Tether, WBTC, and wrapped Ethereum. So I would get tokens in exchange for putting into this pool. representing my position in that pool. So you go over here to abracadabra.money. All right. Let's take a look at a thread real quick before I start just dumping into the vaults and the pools. And it's funny because imagine trying to explain to a normie abracadabra.money. I mean, they're already skeptical of crypto as it is. And they're already looking at you like a Mary Kay for men, or like, or like a CrossFit dude or a vegan person, just like blabbering on about what they're doing within the first 2 seconds of meeting them. So I was trying to explain to my wife, okay, there's this protocol called Abracadabra.money, and immediately when I said Abracadabra Money, she laughs and she's like, oh, so it's like magic money. I'm like, well. Yeah, it's magic money. So Abracadabra Money is a spell book that allows users like to produce a magic internet money. You, the spellcaster, can provide collateral in the form of various interest-bearing crypto assets such as YV, FYFI, YV, USTD, YV, USDC, XSushi, and more. And with this, you can borrow magic internet money, and which is like a stable coin you can swap for any like traditional coin. Yeah, that's kind of how it sounds to her, It's like, I totally get it. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. But it is something, and DeFi is an amazing place right now. It is a magical place, and you can make good money with it. All right. So anyway, yeah, Abracadabra Money is a spell book. It allows users to produce magic internet money. You, the spellcaster, can provide collateral in the form of various interest-bearing crypto assets. And those interest-bearing crypto assets are what I just talked about that represent your place in liquidity pools, in vaults, and stuff like that I showed you on Sushi and Yearn Finance and in Curve. With this, you can borrow magic internet money, which is a stable coin that's pegged directly to the US dollar. And you can swap for any other traditional stablecoins. Now, I know there's some subtleties with magic internet money versus other stable coins, and it's out of the scope of what I'm talking about here. So if I just generalize and saying it's pegged to the US dollar, I know that there's some nuances there. Okay, so and I will probably do an entire episode just dedicated to magic internet money. All right. So anyway, the formula is straightforward. Collateral in, poof, stable coin out, right? To reverse the spell, the caster simply returns the conjured magic internet money to the spell book when the magically locked interest-bearing tokens are released. Okay, so as I said before, you get these tokens that represent your positions in liquidity pools and in staking vaults, and normally they would just kind of like sit there unless you put them in a liquidity pool aggregator. And that's then your liquidity pools get locked up in some other protocol. So either way, it gets locked up and there's not a whole lot you can do with it. So let's go over here to this thread. This will lay it out pretty well. Pastry is somebody really good to follow on Twitter. So I follow Croissant and I follow Pastry. So there's a little food theme going on. I wonder if they know each other or if they're married. Maybe Croissant and Pastry are married. I don't know. So Abracadabra Money, or spell token, has been receiving a lot of attention lately. Just recently, it broke into the top 100 in market cap. Let me see where I am on time. Okay. It surpassed $1.2 billion in total valuation and is up 16 times within the past 30 days. And this was written in October. Due to this hype, I've decided to do an in-depth overview of the protocol. Okay. Yeah, when I'm talking to my wife about magic internet money and abracadabra.money and stuff like that, and it sounds so hokey, there is $1.2 billion in total valuation. So regardless of how hokey it sounds, you can't ignore this. So what exactly is Abracadabra Money, and what does it provide that others don't? The core premise of Abracadabra Money is brilliant. Essentially, the platform allows its users to yield farm with leverage. So how's this done? To understand the revolutionary idea behind Abracadabra Money, we must first look at how traditional yield farming is done in DeFi, right? And I kind of touched on it there. This user will deposit their tokens into a farm, say YFI, right? Okay. So I went over here to Yearn Finance and I showed you all these different vaults you can deposit your tokens in. Now, keep in mind this article was written almost a couple months ago, and Yearn Finance doesn't always have the same vaults on here. Okay, so the users will deposit their token into a farm, say YFI, like in the vault that I showed you, and receive the US dollar equivalent of interest-bearing tokens in return. So you get the Y Vault USDC version of the USDC stablecoin you put in there. And you get the token representing your position in that vault. Okay, great. They're earning yield now. But what if we could take it a step further? As of now, the user is generating yield, but their capital is locked up in a liquid. Okay, this is where the magic of Abracadabra Money comes into play. What if we could use these interest-bearing tokens, which act as cash equivalents of the underlying assets, as collateral to take out a loan? Okay, I pulled out a loan in Celsius against my Bitcoin. I got a bunch of DAI, and I transferred that DAI to some WETH, some wrapped Ethereum, and I transferred some to some Spell tokens as well, and then some to some Klima, and some to some Ethereum to buy an NFT with. All right, so I locked that in, and I got this back. Okay, and then I locked some of that into Sushi, and I got liquidity pool tokens back from Sushi to represent my position there. And with those Spell tokens as well, I kind of bypassed this whole YFI thing because it's still kind of vague with me. So anyway, this is where magic of Abracadabra Money comes into play. Sorry for that tangent. What if we could use those interest-bearing tokens, which act as cash equivalents of their underlying assets, to take out as collateral to take out a loan? So I can take those interest-bearing tokens, for instance, those Sushi liquidity pool tokens, and put them in here in Abracadabra Money. So I can go to farm. All right. So, not farm, borrow. All right. So let me go to the borrow tab in here. And it's low adding. Low add. So anyway, it's going to show me this whole list of tokens, and their vault tokens, liquidity pool tokens, and then just some normal tokens, like Alchemix here, for instance, that I could lock into here and borrow against in much the same way that MakerDAO does. But the difference is from MakerDAO is I would be locking in Ethereum. And here I can lock in these interest-bearing tokens that would otherwise just be sitting around just taking up rent and living rent-free in my wallet in a way. Well, I mean, they're earning interest, but they're not doing anything after that. So here you can lock them in, and then you can borrow against them if you need. And you can borrow the Magic Internet Money, which is a stable coin, and then you can take that Magic Internet Money over to Curve, and you can swap it out on an exchange for anything else, whether it be Ethereum to go buy an NFT, or whether it be for USDC, so you can take it to a centralized exchange and then cash out and buy yourself that bitchin' Camaro you've always wanted from the 80s movie. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. Or you can take the Magic Internet Money and then maybe swap it for something that you can lock away into another protocol. Then you can earn a whole other level of interest, And of course, it gets riskier the deeper you go in this inception layer of borrowing, But that's up to you and your risk tolerance. So anyway, I bought some Spell token. And so I got these staked Spell tokens, and I staked it. I staked my Spell tokens right here in this protocol. And as a result, I got my Spell tokens, right? So I can go over here with my Spell tokens, and then I can lock them in, and then I can borrow up to 90% collateral and get the Magic Internet Money stablecoins if I wanted to borrow against my Spell. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't need to. But if I came up with some big idea, or if there's something that an opportunity I really wanted to jump on, I could lock in my Spell tokens and borrow and get the Magic Internet Money to go do what I needed to do. So it's a really great position to be in, and it's a really great option to have in case you suddenly need some liquidity. And you're like, oh crap, man, I'm missing this opportunity in this boat. Like over the weekend, Bitcoin's at $47,000, and a ton of other projects during this dip are down. So it's a great time to buy. Anyway, let's go back to this thread. Um, okay, so this is where the magic of Abracadabra Money comes into play. What if we could use these interest-bearing tokens, which act as cash equivalents of their underlying assets, as collateral to take out a loan? So here it shows the open position, and you can take out a loan. In this case, it's the Y-curve tether pool. So somebody has their tether locked into curve or into Yearn. I'm sorry, locked into Yearn, and then they got those YV tokens in return to represent that position. And now they're borrowing Magic Internet money against it. They say, well, using Abracadabra Money, you can um, uh, use these interest-bearing loans to act as collateral. On Abracadabra.money, holders of interest-bearing tokens such as YV Ethereum, YV USDC, YV Wi-Fi, YV Tether, and X Sushi is when you stake your sushi on the sushi platform. You can use these assets as collateral to mint Magic Internet Money, which is a stable coin pegged to $1. Okay. When a user takes out a loan in Magic Internet Money, the borrower is assigned a debt allocation with interest. And in this case, it's 0.8%, which is like pretty much nothing, and is given a maximum loan to value ratio, which represents the amount of magical internet money they are eligible to borrow and is dependent on the type of collateral used. So look at all these different types of collateral. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of collateral, and all these are interest-bearing tokens that represent a stake in some type of platform. And here's the interest rates: 1.5 on wrapped Ethereum. On the USDC vault in Yearn, it's 0.8%. On the Yearn vault in Yearn, it's 1.5%. On the Tether vault in Yearn, it's 0.8%. On the Sushi vault, and when you stake your sushi tokens and you get X Sushi in return, it's 1.5%. So those are really good interest rates. So going back to the previous example of a user with $100,000 in Y Vault USDC, so they locked $100,000 into a Yearn vault, and they got $100,000 worth of these Y Vault USDC tokens representing that position. So this user can deposit their funds in Abracadabra Money. They mint 90% of their collateral value in MIM tokens, and they pay a small fee of 8% a year, right? Or 0.8% a year, not 8%, 0.8%. Okay, so now that we've gone over the basics of the protocol, let's take a look at how this could be used in the real world. Let's say you have a considerate amount of money in crypto and you want to buy a house. All right. So, however, you wish to keep as much as possible in DeFi to continue earning yield. Yeah. So, previously, people think that they have to save up their entire lives to put a huge down payment on some house, or put down some large amount to buy this amazing Camaro that they've always wanted, or something like that. And so they save up $40,000, and then boom, they drop it on the house, or boom, they buy that Camaro. And then you know what they have in their bank account? Nothing, absolutely nothing. They have zilch. So they now have to make payments on the remainder of that with faith, and because they had to talk to the credit agency to get the money for the rest of it on top of that down payment. And so now they're just stuck in whatever position they're in, trying to make sure that they make those payments. And because they don't have any savings left in their account because they dumped it all on this asset. And a car is not really something that appreciates in value unless you wait more than 25 years. So anyway, I was going on a tangent. Where was I? So yeah, people are dumping out their accounts for these investments. So what if you didn't have to let go of your investments? And this is where DeFi comes in handy, and it's where it's amazing. Is you don't have to give up your assets and do this like the rich people do. Borrow against your stuff, and it's easy on the tax book too. And when you borrow, I don't think that that's really a taxable event. So I'm not that I'm any type of authority on tax issues, but you get to keep your assets. And then sometimes if you're borrowing enough and the interest rate is high enough and stuff like that from you having deposited your assets in that protocol, then that can even make your payments for you. So yeah, you can pay back at your own pace, and not have some debt collector knocking at the door either. So, yeah, let's say you have a considerate amount of money in crypto and you want to buy a house. However, you wish to keep as much as possible in DeFi to continue earning yield. Using Abracadabra Money, you can deposit your interest-bearing tokens into the protocol and mint up to 90% of your collateral and Magic Internet Money tokens. Remember, it's pegged to the dollar. So you can then exchange these Magic Internet tokens for USDT, like another stable coin, and send them to an exchange and cash them out to your bank account to buy a house, right? I don't think you're going to be able to get a house for 100K, but put a dent in it. So through the magic of Abracadabra Money, you have now managed to buy a house, all while retaining the majority of your DeFi to keep its earning potential. The interest you receive can then be used as payments for the house, property taxes, etc. So I mean, it's magic, right? Since your collateral is based in stable coins, the worst case scenario that could happen is that they become depegged, you get liquidated, and end up paying 10 to 15% extra for the house and lose the earning potential of your tokens, right? Okay, because the collateral is 90. You can mint up to 90% loan to value ratio. So that's where they get to 10 to 15%. So the author says, all in all, I believe Spell is clearly a great platform paving the way for the new iteration of DeFi. It's a unique combination of money Legos and composability. That's a key word, composability with other DeFi protocols, and it makes it a powerful force. And composability is a super powerful force in the DeFi world. It allows different protocols to interact with each other. And for you, if you come up with some amazing idea, to be able to stack them all together and move things around between different protocols in ways that possibly anybody has never thought before. So here in this case, you're getting a stablecoin USDC, you're locking it in a Yearn vault, you're taking those Yearn interest-bearing tokens, you're locking it in Abracadabra, and you're borrowing against it. And then you're taking those tokens, and you can either go into another protocol and add on to that composability, or you can cash it out and get that house or that bitchin' Camaro, right? So yeah, it's amazing the different things you can do in DeFi. So anyway, this was Magic Internet Money. Man, I know I'm not the best explainer of things. I'd go on a lot of tangents and stuff like that, but I hoped it helped you kind of understand what this is about, because right now we're just being flooded with all these different types of protocols and all these little nuances. Olympus is whole, DeFi 2.0, and people are just now beginning to understand DeFi 1.0, and then along comes now DeFi 2.0, where it's talking about bonded liquidity and protocol owned liquidity. I mean, yeah. So let's take it slowly here, and I'm trying my best to help myself understand this by explaining it and help you understand it. So anyway, I hope that helps, and yeah. Yeah, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because I screwed up yesterday with the sound dropping out and having a super long episode and going on tangents and then not really counting that episode, I'm behind, and I have like 4 articles now piled up that I need to talk about. I also want to talk about some layer 2 bridges such as Seller and Hop protocol. And there's the Unlock protocol, there's Ethereum World. There's some Ohm stuff I want to talk about. There's a great article about Bitcoin being time. So yeah. I mean, yeah, there's never a shortage of stuff. All right. That being said, I'm gonna get on out to work at 6:06, so I have time to make my smoothie. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and thanks for jumping on. I see about 9 people jumped on, so hey man, I'll take it. Maybe give me a thumbs up when I post up the actual video. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.